One more little job. 2 green bits of hazel. By putting a reflector in front of the fire, all the heat that radiates away from my bed won't be wasted, but some of it will bounce back. Obviously these need to be green, otherwise they'll burn through and cost them. A nice green log here to go at the bottom, so it will move the fire closer and it won't set the reflector on fire straight away. At least 1, 2. As with everything we're going to hit, I'll just chamfer the top off. It's only this one that will get hit. So that will hold our arm up. This will be our arm. do for a peg. All that castle. That should do the job. How's that for timing? Settling down just as the first tawny hour of the day cracks up. Oh, there we go. The kettle's boiling. Time for a well-earned cup of coffee. So, better get out of bed and get the fire lit. Now, it's a good idea before you go to bed, bearing in mind it'll be cold and chilly and you'll be half asleep when you wake up, to do a little bit of preparation. So in the shelter here, I've got plenty of room to keep stuff dry. So I've got some wood for the fire. Back there, I've made myself some feather sticks and I've got some birch twigs. I've got a tinder pouch there, so it shouldn't take too long to get the fire going again. Sport for choice. Do you use the fluffy stuff? Or do this scrape on there? Like a raindrop. It's often easier to work on a flat surface than on the soft ground, but also makes it easier for you guys to see, which I don't recommend picking up burning birch bark. Okay, let's get a bit of a prop in there. Some fair sticks on top. That's a bit more like it. Two bundles of birch twigs. Sometimes it's the little things that count. So never get in contact with a cold damp surface if you can avoid it. I put my glove under my knee and I'm still nice and dry, otherwise I'd be feeling happy now, but I'd need to sit here and dry my right knee out. So instead, just concentrate on putting the kettle on. Ooh, that will man up. Okay. Oh, I've even got a couple of feather sticks left. Leave those in there. Nice. So, how does the one-man thermal kennel perform then? Well, it was actually quite mild last night to begin with. We had some warm air, so although it was clear and there was no clouds, it was surprisingly mild to begin with, which kind of got me thinking I was going to get away with a warmer night than it turned out to be. About midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, then the temperature did drop and it got down to about -2, which in this sleeping bag, provided you're in your sleeping bag, it's just a Dutch Army surplus 3-season bag. Provided you're already tucked up in bed, -2 is not really an issue because you're nice and warm in your sleeping bag. Whilst you're up and about, obviously having a fire here makes all the difference. So with the heat coming from the fire and bouncing back off the reflector, even quite a small fire keeps you reasonably comfortable. I have tested it before with a thermometer that reads surfaces, a kind of laser pointer one that central heating engineer had brought on a weekend course, and on that occasion it was a little bit warmer. It was 7 degrees outside, so when we measured the surface of the wood on the trees, it was 7 degrees. When we measured the back wall of one of these one-man kennels, the wood on the back wall was 20 degrees with the fire going, and I expected there to be quite a lot of heat escape through the leaf thatch. So I went round to the other side and I measured that as well, and that was actually only 8 degrees, so there was negligible heat escaping at that temperature from the 20 degrees that we've got inside the shelter, which is obviously quite a nice balmy temperature to have in the middle of the night. So provided you've done your work, you've got your firewood organised where you can reach it from your bed, and you don't have to jump out of bed. We've already said there's extra space in the shelter here, so you can get some firewood in there, but obviously a larger fuel needs to be outside. Provided you've done that work before you settle down, there's no reason why you can't be really toasty in one of these, even if it is sub-zero and really quite chilly outside. So we can really feel the heat from the fire being captured in this nice little almost crescent shape of the shelter. Obviously you need to think about wind direction. If we had the wind blowing in the front of the shelter, then either it's going to make the fire so big we're going to get cooked, or it's going to make us cold if the fire's smaller. We need to have the wind coming not from directly behind, because that will roll over the top and bring the smoke from here into the fire. We want the wind coming off from down there or up over there somewhere, preferably down here as it is at the moment, and then it takes the smoke, oxygenates the fire, takes the smoke away from you and leaves you with a nice clear view and without your shelter getting full of fire. So, one man thermal kennel, probably one of my favourite ways to sleep outside. You can see everything when you do wake up. As it's getting light, you hear the dawn chorus. You can either lay there and watch the sky colour change, or shut your eyes again and put your sleeping bag over your head if you're feeling tired. But lay there listening to the birds. It's a really lovely way to wake up. So, cheers. I suppose shortly we should have to think about some food. But I might just relax for a minute while I have my coffee. Okay, so what we've got here is what's called a reflector oven, and these things are really cool because of the design, because of the shape of it. Obviously they lend themselves to folding flat, so you can slip them in the back of a rucksack. And I first saw one of these probably about 15 years ago. They're popular in the States. You can buy one for about $130, but then you've got over 50 quid in shipping as well. So I found myself rather put off, and then I saw Dave Canterbury of Pathfinder Survival School made one out of something called cookie sheets, which are not that easy to get here in the UK. Obviously the Yanks bake a few more cookies than us, but they're essentially really, really thin, shallow edged baking trays. So I bought these baking trays on eBay, 28 quid, got my angle grinder out, trimmed the edges off of the middle ones, and then just bought 10 wing nuts to bolt it all together. So we can take it apart. They flat pack inside each other. I could have trimmed these edges off as well as if I'd wanted, which would have made it probably half as deep in the back of the rucksack, but in actual fact with the other soft stuff that's in there, it's not really a problem. So the way this works is the radiated heat coming from the fire hits the top and the bottom panels and is bounced around in there, and this means that we can bake and roast with nothing more than that, just on the edge of the fire with the radiated heat. So when the bread's done, we're going to put some steak in there and have a nice steak sandwich. Awesome, this bread has browned really nicely. Something to kneel on. So, lovely and crispy. So, put those over there to cool down a bit so we can actually touch them. About cooking the steak on the radiated heat, I think it's cooking me. Okay. One more steak. Never leave stuff open on the floor, because if it's not you, someone else will walk past and you don't realise how much dirt flicks off your shoes, and it'll always end up on your feet. So I'll just cover that back up. I'll cook that one in a minute. I wonder how long these will take. Come round where I can see. absolutely perfect. Add a few leaves. So there we have it then. A reflector oven. Very versatile. Easy to carry little piece of kit. As I say, 28 quid for the baking trays and I think about £3 or £4 for 10 wing nuts and bolts. And then a little bit of time and puzzling with a power drill to get it to all bolt together. So, excellent little device, a reflector oven, and a delicious steak sandwich. Cheers.